biggest factor, I'd say, with this Flame season. Just not consistent.
Conroy, it's time to cook. Get in the kitchen. It's time to start making some food.
Not just that he hits and is physical and has the name for that now, but he has a bit of a scoring touch.
Mackenzie Weegar is the best defenseman Calgary's had in a hot minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Puck and Stuff podcast, where we talk about puck and other stuff. If you saw that baseball TikTok, you know it's more than just hockey every so often. Anyways, guys, today's topic, the Calgary Flames. It's like we predicted this at the start of the season.
Yeah, actually, you know what? We predicted them to be a bit worse, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, but were we not joking? And they're going to have a decent, middle of the season. And then they're going to stumble here and there, a couple of bad games, and then there's going to be a battle for last position in the wild card. All the way to the end. And then our first round pick still going to Montreal.
Bye-bye.
So, there are things, well, I guess before I even get into this, B-dawg, how you doing on this fine day?
I'm doing pretty good on this side, and I guess welcome to Flames Talk, the finale, potentially? I don't know. There's a lot to go through before that even is a debate, but...
Well, listen, I don't think there should be a finale because we're probably going to have to do an end-of-season recap anyways.
Yeah, 7 games.
So, but I see what you mean kind of in this, because there's, 7 games left, and we don't know what's going to happen, right? You're chasing Minnesota before you were chasing St. Louis, but St. Louis, as we're speaking, 11-game win streak, and they're up 2-0. So against you, I don't know what team it was, but I just checked the score a couple minutes ago, and so that's what you have.
Yeah,
I think okay. So I guess to kind of start this off, looking at the games, you're playing Vegas tonight. You play Anaheim. You play LA. You play Vegas again. You play San Jose. Do you feel that there's some sort of a chance? Do you feel potentially something may work out here?
Potentially, maybe. It just all depends on really who's above you, to be honest. Because if you really do look at the standings right now, I mean, Minnesota and the Blues have quite a lead on the Flames in the standings as of right now. And it's kind of looking tough, man. It really is looking tough for the Flames. Sure, we do probably have that game in hand right now. Actually, we have 2 games in hand right now. We have 84 points, and Minnesota and St. Louis both have 77 games played and have almost 90 and over a 90. So it's a hard mountain to climb, dude. That means Calgary, at least to have a good chance at playoffs, needs to win the rest of the games remaining. And knowing how this team is, that's probably not going to happen. So it was a good season.
It was a good season. I mean, if you look back at the games that we just played, they dominated Anaheim, and I think one thing that they struggled with this season for sure is scoring. And, they got a lot of shot opportunities. I would have loved to see more of that the entirety through the season, but I just don't think the 4 group is lined up with players that are of shooting mentality, or I just in general just aren't, pure goal scorers. That's okay. Yeah. I think Coronado could become someone like that, but he's young. Kadri, has shown that actually this year, with 31 goals. He's pretty good recently. But, if you push an old car, problems are going to occur, and you're going to see it. You see that with the game in Utah, right? You're playing a back-to-back, and although there was an effort there, you just couldn't get any. Well, and then there's that disallowed goal.
Yeah.
The yearly, was it in the net? So that's always fun to have that one.
It's funny to me with that one because it just kind of tells me every reason a Flames lose a game nowadays or ever since has been, the puck was in, but the rest of the game it didn't matter. It was just that one moment that the puck looked like it crossed the line, but they called it no goal. That was the reason why we lost that game against Utah, right? 3-1 loss. Yeah, that was the reason. But actually, I do want to back this conversation up a little bit more in the schedule because we did go. So it was a 6-2 loss against Toronto on St. Paddy's Day, and then they went on the road trip to New York. They swept New York. We haven't done that in a very long time, and that kind of brought the momentum to Calgary because then you beat Seattle in OT and you're on a 4-game win streak. Then what killed us was you had to beat some of the top teams in the West, like Dallas, you lose 5-2. Edmonton was a close OT game. Draisaitl killed us, basically. And then you win in a shootout against Colorado, looked really good. And then, like you said, we versed Utah, and it kind of went downhill from there. But, I mean, 4-1 win against the Ducks. It's nice, but still, man, it's going to take a lot for this team to still have a chance at playoffs right now. But they've looked better. I got to give them that.
They have, for sure. And you can tell that there's an aura to the team different from maybe even the past other seasons. Like Sportsnet 960 was talking about this pregame with that Ducks game was, you can tell there's a difference in the locker room where, and that could have probably stemmed from a lot of those players were UFAs the next season. They didn't know where they would be, whether they'd want to stay or not, or even if, they even knew if they would. And so they just, there wasn't much desire to really just kind of, stay committed with this team. But the players here seem to, buy in. I think Huberdeau changing his game up is a good example of that.
I'll just ask this straight up question. Do you think the Calgary Flames will make playoffs, or hope all dead? Is hope just dead, or do they still have some chance? Is there some chance still alive in Calgary?
It's fun thinking that there could be some sort of Cinderella run here to the playoffs. I don't see it. At the end of the day, although the Wild, because of how badly injured the entire team is struggling significantly, I feel like you dug yourself into a hole too much. You think of games like the Seattle game a couple months ago where they let I think it was 3 goals in 8 minutes. Tie the game, they win in overtime. Things like that, where you could have got these extra points, where you should have won. And they bite you. And they bite you because you play a style where you're better and you're always going to win to the teams that are worse than you. Can't really win against the teams who are better than you. How's that going to work in the playoffs? If you got to play a first seed in the playoffs, I don't know how you're going to beat Winnipeg, I'll be honest.
It's down bad in Calgary when you're basically relying on a crippled Minnesota team to do that bad to fall out of the playoff spot just so you can take it as kind of like a sympathy award, basically, for playoffs. Like, oh, here, you guys made playoffs because one team was so badly injured, and then, oh, you're versing the top dog in Winnipeg or Vegas. Good luck. Good luck, guys. Good luck. You deserve this.
Yeah, right. And so, look, I believe there's going to be a sort of there's going to be an upset. Don't know if Calgary's that team, Yeah. I'd bet more money on someone like St. Louis or Montreal as an example. Or if Montreal makes it. Ottawa too. But you get my point.
I've heard talks they're planning on extending him, man. I need to hear your thoughts. Do you still commit to the idea of extending Anderson? I know he's cool when he stares down the other fan in the arena. That's funny as hell. But, at the same time, is this something you think the Flames should do?
I think you lose Anderson and your defense is worse for sure. I think he needs someone to play with him on his side. I don't think him and Ball work together. I like Ball, but there's definitely some defensive struggles with this team. You definitely don't have a Jacob Slavin, an Alex Pietrangelo, a Shea Theodore. You don't have a guy like that on this team for sure.
At the same time, Mackenzie Weegar does lead the team in assists, but I don't think him and Anderson play well together. It's kind of hard to tell because there are some games they do have good chemistry as a pairing, but at the same time, there's those nights where they struggle. So I get why maybe Huska splits them.
Oh, for sure. I hearing that it's a little too much term that's being wanted. I think the money's fine, but it's the term, and I would want to keep Anderson. I think that if you can keep your defense, it's tough. I think Pahal's look decent at some times. I think right now Pahal's could be much better for sure. Who do I envision on this defensive? On the blue line, who would be staying the next 3 years? I don't know. Weegar,
you have Perek coming up. Then
Perek, right? Maybe Brustevich if he's got that promise too. But it's just the blue line's gonna have to be fixed simply through waiting for someone like Perek. Not just that, but you're probably gonna have to trade and sign and that's how you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to probably pay a little more too because you are, a Canadian team.
Well,
you're gonna want another Anderson, so it's tough.
That's true. No, I'm not saying you're wrong there, but at the same time, when you just really look at the kind of career Anderson has had in 2022, Calgary, he was a 50-point player with a plus 30 and a plus minus. And from there out, he became kind of a 30 to 50 point player for most years in Calgary. And now you're looking at him in his prime. Next year is his last year on the deal at, I believe, 5 point something mil per year. And to be honest, you could get a really good trade out of him if Calgary can't figure out an extension. Like, I know this team is kind of riddled defensively right now, but at the same time, Conroy had a good draft year for defensemen last year, and he potentially could do it again. And if you get more picks and little pieces and prospects for Anderson, that could come out in long term. So I would push myself more into trading him than extending him, depending how many years and how much. But I feel like Anderson would ask for like around 7, personally, more than 7.
I think, I mean, and he could potentially get more with cap going up, and I'm certain defensemen, that's high demand. You're gonna have to pay a pretty penny for something like that, right? Even if this is 1 year of inconsistency, so I feel. I mean, he was a minus, I think, 11 last season, but try to game it with different defensemen on his other side there.
Before I really just continue off anything, I wrote a little take, and it's called B-dawg Simple 6. I have 3 pros and 3 cons from the Calgary Flames season of 2024-2025. I'm gonna go on one at a time, and then you and I can just discuss on basically what I said. So, B-dawg Simple 6, the first pro I have is the best the team has looked since 2022, and I believe in that. And because if you look at the first season when Huberdeau and Kadri came into the league, Huberdeau had a down season, like one of the worst down seasons any players really had in the league. And Kadri was just getting adjusted, and the team was still from 2022, just not the same. Even Markstrom was still in net for us. But I think since then, and actually then the year after we went 9th and drafted Zane Parekh, and then this year, this is the best the team has really looked, rookie-wise, goalie-wise, forwards-wise. I'm not going to mention defense, but you get my point. Ever since 2022, this is the best the team has looked.
100%. So you think about it, so you end up losing to Edmonton in that 22 season, Kachuk, Gaudreau gone, boom. So you have already a new core there because Huberdeau and Weeker, come in from that trade. And then you sign Kadri as well. So there's a lot of speculation, like what's going to happen? Oh, wow, look at these players. They have a little bit of track record to have some success. So you're thinking, okay, so maybe something positive will come out of this. It doesn't. And the last season was just super lost, having to trade all these players away and everything, but now this season, definitely best since 22. And reason being, for one, you can tell the Conroy plan is going full gear or whatever, the train's leaving the station, and you can tell that it's doing its magic right now. And you can tell the players that there is a culture where they actually want to be here. You could tell people didn't want to be here a couple of years ago. No. But now people actually want to be here. And isn't it ironic that the people who are a part of the team when the team didn't have that culture are the ones who are still getting the trade speculation as of now? I think there's no coincidence to that, right? I believe there was a little bit of that Swedish click going on. 100% most exciting and definitely the best, because even there have been some games this season that are more convincing than others.
Exactly. And the second pro to this list is the young stars are looking promising. Coronado is 4th on the team in points, 20 goals for 40 points. Zari's had injury problems this season. However, in 54 games, he's only put up 27 points. I'm not gonna give the guy a hard time because of injuries. Kirkland we saw this year. Adam Klapka we saw this year. The new young additions we got in the trade, Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, have looked good. I'm not gonna put anything on them yet because I'm waiting for next year to really see them start that chemistry with the team in the offseason. And obviously, Dustin Wolf is probably going to become a Calder finalist and has 25 wins on the season. He's going to try beating the rookie record of wins for a goalie, Mike Vernon, and he has a 9-10 save percentage. What do you think?
No, I think you're spot on. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Pastersol's made a regression. I maybe it's just because do we have a role for him? I don't know.
He's just kind
So
of a
that's
grit
a little-
guy. He's really just been our
Yeah.
grit guy. He's like top 10 in hits in the NHL.
Yeah, no, well, he's got the physical factor for sure. But you're right. There's a lot of problems with all of these young guys, and even the ones that haven't been called up yet. So that's what I'm most excited for. Is I really feel that the Connie plan is going to take full effect, or is taking full effect, and it's going to work. No, but I would say that no, you're spot on, and that's what I'm most excited for with this team coming in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And my third and final point of my pros to this simple six is the return of Jonathan Huberdeau. Second on the team, almost 30 for 30 in goals and assists, 27 goals, 31 assists, and 58 points. It's nice that the return of Huberdeau, because like I just said, in this first season, he had one of the worst down seasons of any NHL player ever. And seeing him come back and be second on the team in points and be an actual leader now is really nice to see, especially with how many young guys we have on the team now.
Most definitely. You're never going to be able to justify the 10.5 a year. So such is life. But the fact that he took the offseason to train hard and to rejuvenate his game more to a more two-way player, I do love the grittiness he's played, the more defensive structure too. And you can tell this guy's a talented player because he's able to just go. He changed his play style on the fly. You know what? I bet he could probably go to that playmaker type player again if we have an all-star.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna get that, but
Gavin McKay, man. Gavin McKay.
good. Well, McKay. This is gonna be your purgatory, bro. Always Mucky Middle. We're not getting McKenna. It's not going to happen.
No, everything's going to go completely wrong next year.
No, and McKenna's going to Pittsburgh because Crosby's retiring soon. So,
oh damn,
just remember that.
Yeah,
but yeah, happy for Huberdeau for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy for Huberdeau, and at least his trade value goes up a bit more now with a little bit of a better season from him. Okay, we enter the simple six cons. So 3 cons from the Flames season. Well, T-dawg could probably go all day about this, but I only simplifies it to 3, so we'll see how I do. Okay, first, no scoring touch. We are 3rd in the NHL for goals for. We are a 2.54 goals per game. Power play mid. Only two players potentially to score over 30 goals this season. T-dawg, I need your thoughts on this BS of our scoring touch.
Oh my goodness, how many games watched this season? And it's what? They win by 3 goals. They can't score.
No, they can't.
There's no scoring touch. And yes, you have a goalie who can really save your butt sometimes, but it is not a playoff winning formula. Not even close. That's what I'm saying. You play a Winnipeg team, right? You get into the playoffs, you're gifted with Winnipeg. Yes, I think Winnipeg's probably going to choke, but they got Hellebuck. If you can only score 3 goals a game, can you do that to Hellebuck consistently in a 7-game series? Can you do that? Can you even score 3 goals? I don't see it. Especially with a team that plays well defensively apart from just Hellebuck too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you could do that. So that is the bigger reason. Again, if you had maybe some dude who was a 40, 50 goal scorer, you have a Kaprizov, different story. You probably are the Wild. You probably are the Wild in that position. If you have a Kaprizov type player, one who can actually put the puck in the net. I think Coronado is going to become someone who's going to be a consistent 30, 35, and then a couple of 50 goal scoring seasons. It takes time. It takes time, and he needs someone to gel with him so he can get that puck. 'Cause he's got a damn good shot. We cannot waste this guy with how good of a shot. His shot is so good, I don't know where that came from.
That's why I'm really hoping Morgan Frost and him can get a good connection and good chemistry, because Morgan Frost gives me the vibe of a really talented playmaker where you have Coronado right beside him on that. Oh, dude. Like if Farabee, Frost, and Coronado get on a line and get chemistry this offseason, they're going to be deadly. They're going to be probably one of the deadliest second lines.
And the nice thing about that, sorry, when you mention that is, those are players you will have for a tenured time.
Exactly.
Most likely.
Yeah. They're all young.
So chemistry in that of players who are going to play with each other for some time. It doesn't help too with this whole season with no scoring. Sharon Govich has struggled significantly. Oh goodness gracious! Oh my goodness gracious! Oh well.
I totally forgot about it. Sorry, I meant to put Sharon Govich as a name here because he's been having a down season.
Yeah, we're gonna mention
from putting up 30 last year to what? Actually, you know what? I am searching this up. 1 frickin' second. What is your points this year, buddy?
Oh my goodness!
What is your points? He has 13 goals, 14 assists for 27 points on the season with a negative 11 plus minus in 60 games. Guy. Hi, what happened? Did you
him and
off Legos from Mr. Conroy? My freaking goodness!
Yeah, him and Pospisil have had that. I mean, it was the same with Kuzmenko too, and he's actually looking all right with LA right now. But
yeah, he's playing really well with him.
Yeah, scoring is a struggle. I hope that's fixed next season. We'll see.
All right. Well, I am on to my second con of this simple 6. And where's the defense? We have the 8th worst penalty kill in the league. Goalie needs to stand on his head to keep us in games. Anderson, one of the worst plus minuses on our team. Sorry, the worst. And I miss our D-core from 3 years ago, except Uyghur. And we can't break out that well.
So
can't protect the net.
Here's your answer. No offense to this player, but Joel Hanley is your first left defense.
Ugh.
Right? So you have too many of these players who really on a team that could actually be competitive in the playoffs. They're on the third pair.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Right? Nothing against him. I've seen good plays from Hanley, from Ball, from Miramanov, although people are sick. Bro, holy moly, I did not realize there is an actual crowd that does not like Miramanov. Yeah, bro, people don't like him. I think he's actually played a decent defensive structure, but to each their own, okay? Don't come after me. Jake Bean's the one, that's my guy. I'm like, man.
Yeah, I'm not.
So but to me, like all these players, I just lifts it off. They're third pair. That's it. Nothing against them. It's just they look good. I think Ball could take definitely an extra step, so I think you keep him. I think Pahal was looking good for some time. I think that's struggled a little bit more now. Anderson, you're probably losing. And yeah, Uyghur. He's a leader. Probably your future captain after Backlund retires. So what else do you have, right?
Very valid point. Very valid point.
Yeah, you wait for Perek for sure. I think Perek eventually will come in and he will steal the show. But you need more players. So I think you look out and you start getting that. But you need youth. So I think you start trying to get that when the time is right.
So actually, I want to go back because I did. So when I said I wish my D-core was as good as 3 years ago, because if you looked at the 2022 season with the Flames, I never had a problem with the D-core because our PK was probably one of the best. And we could break out. We could defend on our own zone so well with that kind of core. And it's frustrating to me because, yeah, we traded those players because we needed to. But at the same time, we are definitely noticing the hurts, the icky vickies of the fucking defense in Calgary now because of those trades. But I feel like they were valid trades, but now we're just suffering for it in the back end.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I think maybe I'm just biased, but I think during that season, I think Calgary had a slept-on defensive core, and I think it was one of the best in the league.
Yeah,
and there was a couple of other really good defensive cores that you don't touch from that season, but I think Calgary for what it was fantastic. But again, right, you lose a Tanev. You want a Tanev. You want someone who you can trust to block a bunch more shots. Like there's players on this team that block the shots, of course. Yeah. But Tanev was that certain warrior, Tanev is Tanev. He's his own guy. You love a Tanev, more of a Tanev type player. You'd love him another Hanifin. Exactly. So I think there's a lot of that too. What's your third point?
All right, my third and final point is a math equation of the Calgary Flames over the last 3 seasons. And the first one is not good enough to make playoffs, plus too good to tank equals mid as F. Welcome to being a Flames fan.
This is I like this equation.
Yeah, it's the equation
it's
of
very true.
bullshit.
I mean, we just mentioned that like earlier in this podcast, how you can beat the teams who are worse than you. You can't beat the ones that are better than you. You're just right in the mucky middle. And it feels like it's some sort of purgatory.
Yeah.
All I can think, I'm telling you, bro, all I can think is if we say we make playoffs this season, it's 2014, 2015 all over again. I just, you just don't want to make decisions that are too, maybe based off of recency biasness.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, you just don't want to make irrational decisions. Keep thinking ahead. I'm worried that it's only because of ownership. It's why we haven't gone even deeper into some sort of retool/rebuild.
Yeah, probably
because the management, like Conroy, talk about being competitive and whatever. Because and players want to be competitive no matter what. But and that's how you suffice your older players. But the thing too is it's ownership that I heard more about winning now and stuff.
What? What is making this ownership want to win so bad with a core like this? Like, I don't. Yeah, because Brad Treliving signed Huberdeau and Kadri to long-term contracts, and you're kind of stuck with them. Yeah, but at the same time, what else is proving to you this team's ready for that? This isn't the 2022 season. I don't get it.
This is the thing is like, even this. Tell me this. How excited are you to watch a Flames game this year compared to 3 years ago?
I'm more excited for the dome foams and to get a little tipsy as I yell at the defense, being like, protect the goalie! Defend the net! What are you doing? That's the joy I get out of it.
But that's the thing, right? Let's be real. I'll be real. It's like if I'm home, I'm doing something else and watching a Flames game the certain times because the team, there are other hockey teams that are way more fun to watch.
Yeah.
One. And two, so maybe I'm a whatever fan or whatever, but it's just genuinely, you just can know, like when you follow a team long enough, you just know how it is, Some games are so much great fun to watch and, getting this, if we're seeing live and stuff. But nothing compared to 3 years ago. That team 3 years ago, my goodness, was so much fun to watch. Like I remember one game we went to. I can't remember which game it was, but I remember we were like, "Isn't it weird to like be watching this team live and it's actually a good hockey team? Like genuinely, we're watching good hockey, like because we're not used to
the
that."
Rangers. Was it that Rangers game when we went down?
Probably that Rangers game.
Oh, so fun.
There was another one we went to that year. I can't remember who we played, but.
I think my favorite moment was Adam Fox when he touched the puck. Then you heard the whole crowd go like, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
It was only half an arena too, with all the COVID restrictions, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah, that was honestly great. That was great times. But no, I love Flames hockey when the team is looking good and having all-star players. It is rough to watch this team when we are mediocre. We haven't decided which way we're going yet, and ownership is trying to make us win, but none of the fan base really wants us to win. It's kind of hard to be a Flames fan right now in that sense.
I'm of course watching now with the playoff race, but when they get eliminated, I will watch to see how someone like Suniev plays, or if they bring up Perek again. Yeah. That's what I want to see, right? When that time comes. So, I don't know. I guess you have more of a realistic idea of what this team is like, and that's how it is.
It hurts? Question mark. more realistic.
Trust me, it's like you see what happens next season, and you'll start to see. I do feel that with how amazing Wolf is, I think you're going to see a quicker turnaround than we expect. Sure. I think playoffs are pretty close in our view. I just don't think it's this year.
I don't think it's 2 years.
But I you don't think next year either?
I don't think next year either.
I mean,
I think next year. I really think next year we hit a deeper dive than the 9th overall pick.
Well, I guess if you get rid of Kadri and you get rid of Anderson, good point.
Because if you think about it, Wolf had a good season. And what always happens in the sophomore year of a guy who has a good season? They dump. And you know what that means? When you have goalie that can't save, you have defense that can't defend, your team dumps. And you know what that means? Top 5 pick.
Higher pick.
Higher pick. And that's what
Gavin McKenna
like,
draft.
if you're a Flame fan, you are yelling at your ownership. Be like, dude, this team isn't good. I understand it's a draft lottery and it's harder to get a good prospect. But if you hit top 5, that is guaranteed a good prospect. And you know what?
Yeah.
I can't say much because Sean Monahan was a first-line center before injuries. He was 100% a first-line center, and now people are saying that was the worst trade Calgary made when we sent him to Montreal for that and a first. Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Fair enough, but look, him in Columbus, he hasn't played a full season. I love Monahan. It's just not healthy.
But it's also... Our 2 first-round picks this year are going to be above the top 20 now.
Yeah, well, that was a very Brad Treliving trade.
It really was, which hurted us now. And he's
same with that Scott Lawton trade this year. That to me was so Treliving. I was like, yeah, only Treliving would make a trade like that. I mean, yeah, you need a center, but hey, take every prospect we have. And then there's people saying how Fraser Minten might get offer sheeted next season. My goodness, they're gonna get the Edmonton treatment.
Oh my god, they really are. No, but I do really I can see this team taking a fall next year, and I think fans really want that. It might sound bizarre to some people that a fan base wants that, but we need that. We deserve that fall.
I'm not going to be opposed if that happens. At the end of the day, it's the moment when the team, you're like, okay, look, this team, the way it's set up on paper, there should be some sort of progression. And if that doesn't happen, that's when I'm mad. I'm yelling,
Yeah.
But right now it's calm. I trust the process of Conroy. Just going to let it be. Hey, you make playoffs? Probably not. I don't think it's going to be good for us in the long run. But hey, you make it cool. We all get to hang out and hang out with our buddies and watch the games in Calgary. But that's it. They're not winning nothing, right? So, no. And then, yeah.
Well, you know what, though? I'm at the mentality where you and I agreed, but basically we both agreed that this team wasn't going anywhere this year. And we figured they were going to be mid as they are. Just, we expect either one or the other at this point. I'm tired of this mid shit. I don't need mid anymore. I'd rather know if this team's going to suck for as long as it needs to until that arena's built, or concerningly, you try playoffs, which concerningly none of the fan base really wants because this team's never had a first overall pick. We've had I think our highest pick was 3rd.
Bennett, yep.
3rd, yeah. So we've never had that feeling of a first overall pick or anything near it. So Calgary, do me a favor and try that. As a guy from the fan base, these are the guys that come to your building and come buy your beer, come watch your games. If you're going to give us a product, give us a good one before that new arena's up. Because could you imagine if this team is still the way it is going into that new arena?
Not a lot of hype for sure. I think that's going to affect. In a business standpoint, it'll affect your ticket sales. It's going to affect your merchandise sales.
Yeah, going up.
In a marketing sense, they're probably going to start to try and look for some sort of named player that they can use. Yeah, Wolf will be one of those players, but I think they need a skater.
They need a center.
They'll probably find some dude or try to. There's even ideas of Marner.
No, oh my god, don't get more. I've heard winger names, which pisses me off because the last thing we really need is wingers. We need centers.
I'm not even saying that because Marner is a fantastic player. You just know how it's going to work. The dude, and Marner won't probably go to a Canadian team, let's be real. With that money and stuff, Marner at least has players to play with who have the skill set that allow him to thrive in his expertise. I don't think Calgary has that.
No, I don't think so either. Especially I love Mitch Marner as a player, but if he's struggling in a market like Toronto, a Canadian market like that, it's not going to be.
He's not struggling this season, but I know what you mean, right? There have been some concerning times in his career where you're like, you pay him over 10. I don't know.
especially with the media, just the media of Toronto too. I think he wants to, if he is going to leave Toronto, and he's like a homegrown Toronto boy, if I'm correct. I don't see him staying like in Canada at all. I see him going to America, if anywhere. But I want a center. I really do. If you're gonna give me an elite name or something, or draft an elite name, has to be a center. Has to be.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think someone like a McKenna is just intriguing to you, because there's that potential. You look at how like Celebrini plays on a San Jose team that's so young, and that sort of, well, hey, you could offer Sheep Bedard. I don't think he's signing his contract next season.
Yo, if Calgary has the money to pull some sketchy shit, I would give up 3 to 4 first round picks if it involved.
I'd give up everyone but Wolf for Bedard, bro. I would give everyone up but Wolf.
No.
I would. No, I would give the entire roster over. Swap the AHL team. Oh wait, then Bedard would be in the same position as he is in Chicago. Never mind.
Yeah. But I mean, no, legit. So if somehow the conversation of Bedard leaving Chicago is actually happening in the next few seasons, Calgary, do whatever you can, because then I look at this team completely different. If you have a franchise center, especially to the level of Bedard, which will probably never happen, obviously enough. We're just talking shit. But like, could you imagine what that does to a fan base when you acquire a franchise face at a young age, no matter how many first round picks you throw on top of it? We're not going to complain. We wouldn't be mad.
I can imagine how the fan base would be like with a star talent. With the roster, like, man, the Dome would be rocking. Yeah. You know, like the way that the Dome is so in love with Wolf already. Now imagine that with like a player, like a skater, you know, who has that potential to be. When are we gonna get our next Jerome McGinley? Is my question. I don't know when that's gonna happen. That'd be nice to have one.
Yeah, it would. I mean, there's a few players you can make. That's. Damn, but at the same time, Jerome McGinley became the greatest Flame in like the span of a decade. That's really hard to put the next expectation.
That's going to be tough, right? It's going to be he's going to be tough to ever have a player, you know, be better than that. But think about how Coronado has the potential to be a very, very, very sufficient goal scorer. Now you have an all-star player who can play on his line. Tic-tac-toe, boom, 50 goals right there. So
I just want a young franchise center. Like realistically, I look at this team completely different if there is that talented young center leading the charge, and you have Wolf in the back, and then you can honestly go crazy in free agency on your D-core. Like, I look at this team completely differently if they do something like that with this. But you know what? They're not doing shit right now. We're trying to contend for playoffs somehow. You know,
such is life.
Such is life. And hey, guys, that was Flames talk. T-dawg, why don't you wrap this up? And
that was Flames talk. We'll see how this goes with the last couple games. Of course, we're gonna do like a year-end review and all of that. We'll see what happens to this team. I don't know what else to say.
That's why I said hand it off to you.
Here's the thing. They can win all these games, but then Minnesota can win a couple of their games, and it won't matter. So see how it goes. At the end of the day, it's been a season to watch. I mean, I've enjoyed watching the game the team so often. But you know what? Definitely better times ahead, and I think most Flames fans can agree with that. If you guys did like this video, hey, thumbs up, a comment down below. What are you guys excited for the next rendition of this Calgary Flames team come next season? How do you feel about this team coming into, for say, the last games until playoffs or whatever? So, yeah, I think we've said all I don't even know what else to say, bro. Like, they're mid.
You win 7 games, I guess. I don't know.
Go win 7 games, okay? Yeah. We'll come back after that.
Yeah, we'll see how 7 games goes, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
That's right.
See you in 7. Peace.